And it's time for the health segment. Today we're going to be talking allergies. There are all kinds of allergies out there that affect us on a day-to-day basis. I'll be joined by Dr. Kelvin Owusu, who's the medical director of Optimal Care Diagnostics. And he's going to help us to understand what are allergies and then what's the best way to deal with them. All right. So, Dr. Kelvin, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very well. And you?
Fantastic. I'm very good. Thank you. Yes. So, tell us. Allergies. What are they?
Well, simply put, an allergy is an unusually excessive reaction or response by the body to something that should really not be a big deal. So, for example, you and your little baby are playing hit, let me hit. Okay. The baby hits you, and then you use all your energy to slap the baby. You know, that's basically excessive.
Reaction.
Exactly. So something that most people would experience and probably ignore, your body decides to take it World Cup. That's simply what an allergic reaction is.
Okay.
It's a function of the immune system. Sometimes the immune system responds excessively to small things, and that's basically what an allergy is in simple terms.
What would be the typical cause of allergy? Why would the body decide to overreact in any situation?
Well, why the body would decide to overreact is difficult to understand.
Okay.
But when we talk about causes, anything and everything can trigger an allergy in one person or another. So even weather change can trigger some reaction. Some people have a predisposition. Their body is already wired to respond excessively to certain stimulants. So for instance, and in fact, some of these are now diseases that are known. So typical example is something we call asthma. So we would actually consider asthma as part of the allergic range or allergic allergic range of conditions, because it's essentially an overreaction of the windpipe and the lungs to something like dust. So whereas maybe you and I who don't have asthma, I'm assuming you don't have asthma.
No, I don't.
would probably walk through the city and not have any problem because there's a lot of dust in Accra.
Yeah.
We would have no problem because we don't react excessively. If an asthmatic has the same encounter, he or she might trigger an asthmatic attack where there's constriction of the windpipe, there's excessive secretion of fluid and all that, and resulting in an asthma attack. So that's one of it. And the interesting thing about asthma is that the interesting thing about allergies, let me put it generally, is that somebody who has one particular allergy is likely to have other allergies as well.
Oh, I see.
So it's possible that somebody who is asthmatic can have other associated allergic reactions. So asthma is in relation to the respiratory system. They could have allergy of the skin, they could have allergy of the eyes, the nose. So they tend to move in cliques, in groups. Yes, that's allergies for you.
I see. So what is it? I don't want to dive too quickly into the different types of allergies. So we're just going to get a bit of more understanding of what they are. So when a person is having an allergic reaction, the body is trying to do what exactly?
So the body is trying to defend itself against something that shouldn't really make a difference. Like, you shouldn't really be defending yourself against this particular thing, but the immune system has been wired to sort of come full force to defend the body against something that it has classified as an attacking agent. So it has to be dealt with. So the whole arsenal of the immune system has been mobilized to go and fight that thing. So that's what I mean by it's just an overreaction to something we would call something small.
So so the body is perceiving an attack.
Yes.
Which is not really an attack.
Let's not say it's not really an attack. It's not really an attack that demands that kind of response, that kind of reaction. So for instance, like dust. I mean, dust is all around us. So why should some dust going up into the air and entering your nose trigger an attack? I mean, everybody, inhales dust and we all continue our thing. I mean, we played football in the dust for all these years. We don't all fall down and start having attacks. So why is it that suddenly this particular person is having that kind of reaction to the same thing that we all have seen or have used or played with all this while?
So then now take us into the different types, because I know there's food allergies, drug allergies, pollen allergies. I've heard of all these different kinds of. So explain to us what the different types of allergies are, and then we can continue.
When you said different types, I was hoping you don't talk about the type 1, type 2, because that would be too technical.
Well, yeah, there's also that. But then, yeah. I mean, I think that's a little excessive
exactly.
for morning shows.
But yes, there's food allergies, there's drug allergies, allergic to pollen, and in fact, in this period, when especially the pollen allergy, in fact, all allergies in general are seasonal.
Okay.
Allergies, apart from, say, food allergies, which, I mean, you get it when you eat the food. But generally, allergies tend to be seasonal. So we see a skin reaction. Yes, there. So we have some skin, these are different skin reactions, but essentially they are skin allergic reactions. Okay. So this particular one, you see it in the flexural areas. So, and this is the same type that the baby also had in the elbow side. What's it called? Yes, we call it antecubital fossa, but yes. Okay. So you usually find it in the flexural areas. Okay. And it's quite itchy. Usually, one thing that will make you know it's an allergy is that it tends to be quite itchy. Itchy. Okay. Yes, most allergic reactions on the skin tend to be quite itchy, and even in the throat as well. So it tends to be quite itchy, and you'd have the wheals or the bumps on the skin. If you are dark skin, you might not necessarily see the reddening. You might see a darkening. Yeah. Yes, it's kind of like.
I actually have a friend who has that problem, and she has an allergy to grass. Which I find very interesting.
Especially when it's cut, I'm sure. Yeah. Yes, some people do have that. But I think that is also related to pollen. Okay. Because when the grass is cut, a lot of pollen is released into the air. And that can trigger...
But in this case, I don't think that it's even when it's cut. It's just grass. It's a problem. So anytime... so she literally has to avoid stepping in grassy areas because it will happen. Yeah,
I mean, my grandmother had, or she has an allergy to certain leaves. So if she goes into the farm and some particular leaves actually touch her skin, she actually has a breakout. I see. And that's the thing about allergies. There's always a trigger, and thankfully for many people, the trigger is known. Okay. And so I know we are not there yet, but in dealing with allergies, you just try to avoid the triggers. The triggers. If you're able to avoid the triggers, you can live a normal life. If the triggers are such that it cannot be avoided or you cannot avoid it, then you'd have to get treatment. Yeah. To try and control the allergies. And so as I was saying, the allergies tend to be seasonal. So during the change of seasons, so from dry season going into the wet season, there tends to be a lot of allergies. Yeah. And the other side, from the wet season going into the dry season, there tends to be a lot of allergies. So in this part, when the rains have come again, you see that a lot of people have running nose and itchy eyes. It's not all running nose that is a cold. Okay. Some of the running nose tends to be allergic rhinitis. And usually the differentiation, or one way you can actually tell this is allergic, is that you tend to have it more in the mornings. Okay. And as the day progresses, it sort of dries up. It dries up. Okay. But if you had a cold, you'd have the running nose throughout. So usually allergic rhinitis tends to be early mornings or late nights. And then as the day progresses, it resolves by itself. And then there's something that we call allergic salute. So so people who have a chronic allergic rhinitis, they tend to have a line over their nose here. Okay. Yes, because you're always rubbing your nose, so it creases, and then it forms a line. So if you come to me as a doctor and you're complaining of running nose all the time, I'll look for the mark. Yes, and that usually tells you that this person is probably having allergic rhinitis. Most of the time it's not a big deal. Most people never go to hospital, but occasionally it tends to be quite serious. You get the running nose, you get the itchy throat, you wake up in the morning, you're sneezing. Continuously, it can be very, very upsetting and annoying, And so that's allergic rhinitis. Then we have the conjunctivitis, allergic conjunctivitis. And so again, in the mornings, you wake up in the morning, red eye, itchy, you rub through the night. Some children will rub their eyes all through the night, and they wake up with red, swollen eyes. Yeah. Yes, that can also be a bit of a burden, upsetting as well. And it can actually affect quality of sleep. Okay. So if it's that bad, it has to be dealt with. If it's left untreated, the eyes will discolor. It's become brownish, and that is, your eye cannot be brown, No. And so if you notice that you are rubbing your eyes often, you need to have it looked at. The treatment is quite simple. It's simple, but it's not a one-time thing. Okay. Because like I said, it's seasonal, so it's something that you treat as and when
it comes.
There's a flare up. Okay. Yes, and that's the thing. So allergy affects every part of the body. So from the eye, we have the nose, we have the skin. The skin is the biggest organ, so obviously it cannot be left out. So we've seen pictures of images of the skin demonstrating some of the signs of allergy. We have atopy. Atopy is usually rolls with asthma. So some people who have asthma tend to also have atopy, which is like a skin reaction, dryness, itching that happens in the flexural areas, as I was mentioning earlier. And then we have other forms of skin allergies like the wheals. I don't know if you remember those days when we were taking chloroquine.
Yes, I do.
Yes, so some people would take chloroquine and then they would have the breakouts. Yeah. Not everybody had the breakouts. Some people just had the itching. And it wasn't really itching. It's like some pins and needles sticking out, So that's also that's a drug allergy, Okay. And there's also on the skin, there's also something we call contact dermatitis. In this case, let's say you're allergic to a soap, and then somebody uses that soap to wash your clothes. If you wore that dress, you would have the reaction only in the portions where the dress touched the skin.
Wow.
So if somebody comes to you with a skin reaction or a skin anything that sort of has a pattern that is similar to maybe clothing, or if the person applied cream, and then only the portion where the cream was applied has the reaction, then it could be a contact dermatitis or a contact allergic reaction to something that they made contact with, And so for instance, my grandmother's condition, it's a form of contact dermatitis because only the portions where the leaf would touch. So you can see that she comes from the farm and there are lines on, you can see lines on her skin, which is not a scratch, but you can actually trace what happened here. Oh, I must have touched this thing, unawares. And so those are some of the allergies. I mean, allergies are so broad, so broad. It's a big, because if we take asthma alone, that's a whole day's topic. Wow. But that also forms part of the allergic thing. And I think we mentioned cocoa in one of our discussions. Yeah. So the itching eyes, some people call it cocoa. So when in Ghana, when somebody says cocoa, it's really a ubiquitous description for a lot of things, including allergic conjunctivitis. Yeah. Okay. Somebody has the itchy throat and they are doing that sound, and somebody says you have cocoa in your throat. Yeah. So I would like to meet whoever defined cocoa in
Okay, so what does let's go to the solutions.
Okay.
And look at the different ways to help out people who have allergies. Talking about allergic rhinitis, I suspect that I may have, that from time to time. I have never considered being allergic to anything, so I guess I haven't really sort of taken note of what triggers and so on. But now that you describe allergic rhinitis, I suspect that it may be something that I may actually have from time to time.
I mean, for most people, it's caused by pollen, reaction to pollen, because through the day the pollen sort of settles on your bed. I mean, you cannot prevent pollen from entering your space. There's pollen everywhere. I mean, there are plants everywhere. You open the window, you open the door, the wind brings the pollen in and it settles on the bed sheet and all that. And then you sleep on the bed for 8 hours. So you've actually had quite a healthy dose of pollen entering your system. And so you wake up and then that's the reaction. Same with the eyes. The pollen in the atmosphere will sort of interrupt or interfere with your eye, and then you have the reaction. And so that's usually the commonest cause. Of course, there's also dust. Dust may settle on your tables and chairs and your bed, and then again you take it in, and that also causes that thing. So the first, in dealing with allergies, is more or less you avoid the trigger. As I said earlier, that's if the trigger is known. So if it's a food allergy and you're allergic to, say, rice, automatically you have to avoid rice.
Okay.
However, there's treatment available. And in fact, when it comes to allergies, of course, you have to, it's done under controls. I'm giving this because what I'm going to say might be dangerous. It has to be done under controlled circumstances. Okay. But one of the ways of treating an allergy is exposure.
To the trigger?
To the trigger, yes.
Okay.
Because if you expose the person to the trigger under controlled conditions, if you are exposed to the person to the trigger often enough, the person's body will get used to it.
And then stop reacting.
Ah,
got you. Okay.
But See, when it comes to allergies, because the immune system, and I mentioned that there are different types of allergic reactions. Some of them are very simple, not fatal. I mean, you don't even have to report anyway. But some allergic reactions can put you in the ICU. And so that's why ICU, I'm talking about where the critically ill are kept on life support and everything. I'm sure you've all heard about the peanut allergy, groundnut allergy.
Yes, I have.
So somebody can take just groundnut, something we take for granted, and end up in the emergency room because the airways are swollen, cannot breathe and all that. So that's a form of severe allergy.
Okay.
Or a bee stings you and then you have swollen face, you can't breathe, you can't swallow nothing. You know, so allergy, even though we are talking about it in a jovial form, it can be very, very serious and deadly. And so that's why I'm insisting on the fact that it has to be controlled. So you don't just get up and start exposing yourself to that thing. As much as possible, avoid. When you report to hospital and there's a need to do that exposure test, they'll do it under controlled circumstances, so that if there's any adverse response, they can put you in the proper care.
All right. So, Doctor, we need to wrap up now, but I think what we need to do is to have maybe about a series on allergies, you know, because I think that it's a very, very common but maybe misunderstood area, you know, of medical care. So we'll wrap up now. We've been talking to Dr. Kelvin Owusu of Optimal Care Diagnostics on allergies and allergic reactions. We'll definitely come back and do more of this in the coming weeks. So stay tuned.
Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed this video.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Citi Tube,
for exclusive breakfast daily content and other Citi TV programs.
Like, comment, and share with your friends.